Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, where we bring you the latest and most exciting sports news every single day. If you're new here, make sure you're subscribed because this channel is your one-stop shop for everything Detroit Lions. From insider rumors to deep dive player profiles and bold draft speculation, we've got you covered. And today we've got something special. There's a name floating just beneath the surface, a name you won't hear shouted from the rooftops on national broadcasts, but one that keeps popping up in quiet draft rooms and hushed scouting whispers and maybe, just maybe, in Allen Park itself. The name? Ozie Trapilo. The intrigue? Off the charts. And if you stick around, we're going to take you on a deep dive into who this guy is, why the Lions might be more interested than you think, and what it could mean for the future of Detroit's offensive line. Let's get into it. So who is Ozie Trapilo? Well, for starters, he's a mountain of a man. Standing 6'8" and tipping the scales at 316 pounds, Trapilo is exactly what you picture when someone says NFL tackle. Long arms, massive frame, surprisingly light on his feet. And yes, the NFL DNA is real. His father, Steve Trapilo, was drafted by the Saints back in 1987. So football, it's in his blood. And when you watch him play, the patience in pass protection, the intelligent hand usage, the ability to recover when beaten, you see flashes of a guy who just gets it. A guy who understands the game beyond just raw power. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Lions currently boast what many consider one of the best tackle duos in the NFL. On the right side, you've got Penei Sewell, a complete monster, maybe the best right tackle in all of football. On the left, Taylor Decker, the reliable veteran who's been the cornerstone of this offensive line for years and made a Pro Bowl appearance to show he's still operating at a high level. So with all that in mind, why in the world would Detroit be looking at another tackle? Well, that's the question. And the answer? It's layered. It's smart. And it might just be part of a long-term strategy that shows the Lions are thinking years ahead of the competition. Let's talk about Taylor Decker. Decker will turn 32 before the season starts. He's under contract through 2027, yes, but how many linemen are still elite into their mid-30s? Decker's been tough, dependable, and consistent, but age catches up with everyone in the trenches. And if there's one thing Detroit cannot afford, it's a sudden drop in offensive line performance just as this team enters its Super Bowl window. So you prepare. Quietly. Early. You bring in a player with starting upside, but who doesn't need to start right away. Someone who can be molded, chipped, refined. Someone who has time to learn from the veterans ahead of him, but enough talent to take over when the moment comes. That's Ozie Trapilo. He's not a day one starter. He doesn't need to be. That's the beauty of it. He's a luxury pick, a forward-thinking investment. The kind of move championship teams make. The kind of pick that won't make headlines on draft night, but could define your offensive line in 2026 or 2027. And let's look at Detroit's current depth at tackle. After Sewell and Decker, you've got Dan Skipper, a guy who brings grit and leadership, but who's more of a spot starter than a long-term solution. Then there's Giovanni Manu, the athletic project who spent last year essentially redshirting and adjusting to the NFL after coming in from the University of British Columbia. The Lions are hopeful that Manu can take a step forward, and some reports even suggest they'll try him at guard this offseason. That's great for flexibility, but it leaves a question mark at tackle. And if Manu's future is on the inside, who's the next man up outside? Jamarco Jones? Possibly. But he's bounce around. Not a lock. So what do? You find a guy who can be the next Skipper in 2025 and the next Decker in 2026. Could that be Trapilo? Let's talk about his tape. At Boston College, Trapilo wasn't just big, he was technically sound. He handled speed rushers without panicking. He mirrored defenders with fluid hips and calm feet. And perhaps most impressively, he understood leverage. At 6 feet 8 inches, that's not easy. Most tall linemen struggle to play with low pad level, but Trapilo? He bends naturally. That's rare. He's also played on both sides of the line. That matters. Left tackle, right tackle, doesn't faze him. In today's NFL, where injuries happen weekly and depth is everything, that kind of versatility is invaluable. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Trapilo isn't getting the hype of some other tackles in this draft class. He's not Joe Alt. He's not J.C. Latham. He's not projected to go in the top 15. And that's exactly why this could be a steal. Because remember, Brad Holmes thrives in the margins. Amonare St. Brown, 4th round. Malcolm Rodriguez, 6th. James Houston, 6th. The Lions find value where others don't. And if Trapilo slips into day 3, don't be surprised if Detroit pounces. There's even a theory, and no, this isn't confirmed, but it's out there, that the Lions have already conducted a private meeting with Trapilo or someone close to him. No big media coverage. No combine headline. Just a quiet sit-down. A character check. A cultural fit evaluation. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about tape. It's about whether a guy can walk into that Detroit locker room and match the intensity, the toughness, and the hunger that this team is building its identity on. And you know what? Trapilo seems like that kind of guy. Hardworking. No ego. Coachable. Determined. Not looking to be a star. Just wants to do his job and do it well. The kind of guy who fits in perfectly next to gritty veterans like Frank Ragnow and Graham Glasgow. So here's what we're watching for in the days ahead. Will Trapilo get a late rise up the boards? Will the Lions make a move on day 3 to grab him earlier than expected? Could they even trade back into the 4th or 5th to secure him before someone else does? And if they do, what does that tell us about their long-term plans for the offensive line? Because make no mistake, this team is building something real. And every draft pick matters. Every building block needs to be rock solid. Could Ozie Trapilo be one of those blocks? Could he be the next quiet star in Detroit's unstoppable offensive machine? Could he be the guy we look back on 2 or 3 years from now and say, that was the pick. That was the move that kept the Lions rolling. Only time will tell. But what do you think? Should the Lions target an offensive tackle like Trapilo, even with Sewell and Decker still dominating? Do you think depth and development are worth prioritizing in the mid to late rounds? Or should the team focus elsewhere in the draft? Let me know in the comments. I really want to hear your take on this one. Because me? I'm all in on the idea. This feels like one of those classic Lions moves. No headlines, just smart football. And if you're as excited about this team's future as I am, then you already know. This journey, it's just getting started. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. We've got mock drafts, player profiles, rumors, analysis, everything you need to stay locked in this offseason. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Lions. One pride. Let's get it.